The Boston Celtics are moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals. After going down 3-2 to the Bucks, a lot of people did not think Boston would come back, but they eventually did, and there's so many questions on what happened. Now, Boston by no means is an underdog per se. They were one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, and I've been saying for the longest time I thought they were the best. Now, unlike the Celtics and Nets series, this actually did go the distance we thought it would, and it went to 7 games. Now, Game 7, I started to notice something about Boston that I haven't seen the entire series, and I think that's something we should talk about. Now, don't get me wrong, guys like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are the 2 best players on this team, and I'm not going to take that away from them. I mean, even Al Horford, who's at the young age of 57, has started to make a really big impact for the Celtics, who is playing by far the best basketball of his career. However, there is one hero that no one really expected to step up, and that was Grant Williams. Now, if I'm being honest, no one really thought much of Grant Williams. He was a good role player for the Boston Celtics who did play his role. And something that I've said about a lot of series, that if that one team has that one player that you didn't expect to break out, that there's a very good chance they could win. So when you have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown playing well with guys like Marcus Smart, who is making shots, and obviously Al Horford, who's been playing out of his mind lately, and you all of a sudden just add Grant Williams having the best performance of his NBA career, I didn't know how Milwaukee was going to have a counter for that, and that's why in the third quarter they started to go down by a lot of points. How did Grant Williams do this? How did he have the performance of his life in the biggest game of his career so far? Well, let's break it down, because there are so many things that went into this amazing performance that we have to highlight. I would also like to say that this video is brought to you by Manscaped.com, but we're going to talk about them later on in the video. From the jump, we should have known Grant Williams was going to have an amazing performance as he hit the first 3 of the game. Now, honestly, this play isn't nothing too crazy, but the fact that he was left wide open when Grant Williams is a very consistent 3-point shooter is something I feel that's kind of odd. And I mean, sure, we can say Brook Lopez did try to contest it, but if I'm being honest, the man literally just threw up his arm, and by the time Grant Williams already took the shot, it was going to leave no effect. On this play, Marcus Smart is running the offense, and he makes an amazing pass to Grant Williams in the corner for another 3. Once again, we can see Brook Lopez not even trying to guard Grant Williams as Marcus Smart makes an amazing pass, but once again he just throws his arm up and tries to contest, which as we've seen so far from this game, it's done nothing. I think it's also important to know that Grant Williams has had his best career year so far, and I know 7.8 points per game in the regular season really isn't that good. However, he's starting to develop a role in the Boston Celtics, and I mean, things like his minutes and his shot selection, they've started to go up. I mean, with an average of 3.4 3-pointers taken per game while having a 3-point percentage of 41% is very impressive. It's also important to note the fact that Grant Williams is averaging 11 points per game in the playoffs, which is the most points he's ever averaged in, well, anything. What I think is even more interesting is that Grant Williams is being a lot more aggressive, shooting 5.5 threes per game while being able to still shoot 41% from 3. So it's safe to say that this guy is a pretty good 3-point shooter. I think something that also stands out is that Grant Williams was so damn aggressive in this game. There have been so many games in this series and even during the playoffs where Grant Williams just isn't aggressive and isn't taking that many shots. In this series, there were only 2 games where Grant Williams took over 10 shots, and in both those games, the Boston Celtics won. And it's not like he was just shooting to shoot, he was making most of them, having 21 in the first game and 27 in the other game. So there's no doubt in my mind that when Grant Williams is being used and he's actually taking a lot of shots, that he is someone that the Celtics could really utilize. Having those weapons on your team is very important. I think really does build up for a championship team. Now, once Grant Williams started to get hot, what did the Milwaukee Bucks do? Well, as we see on this play, once again Marcus Smart throws him the ball on a pick and roll, and he makes a contested 3. With every shot that I've shown you, Grant Williams has gotten wide open, and they've thrown a big to try to contest the shot. And for good 3-point shooters, it's gonna mean nothing if a big man tries to contest them. It's just a mismatch at this point. Now, before I get into the second half of these highlights, let's hear a quick word from today's sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by Manscaped and their brand new Ultra Premium Collection. Now, Manscaped just released his brand new Ultra Premium Collection, which they actually did send out to me. First off, it comes with refined cologne. It also comes with a 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, which is actually one of my favorite products. It also comes with their famous body wash. It also comes with their newer deodorant. You also get their hydrating body spray. And as a little bonus, you do get a free gift in their lip balm, which does come in a 3-pack when you buy it. This is the Ultra Premium Collection from Manscaped.com, and if you do want to get it, make sure you do use code Spex for 20% off to buy it. Guys, that's code Spex for 20% off. Thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring this video. This time it's Jason Tatum running the offense, but oh lo and behold, Grant Williams takes a 3 and they put a big man on him. Every 3 he's made this game, they literally had a big man on him trying to contest him. I mean, Brook Lopez isn't even on him really. He literally just throws up his hand as the ball's already up in the air. I mean, Jason Tatum literally just came up with the ball and did somewhat of a pump fake and got it to Grant Williams. What I think is so fascinating is that Brook Lopez wasn't even trying to go for Jason Tatum. As soon as Jason Tatum comes up, we see Giannis trying to get him. You even see Drew Holiday trying to get in position to steal the ball. ball. And yet Brook Lopez is just sitting there waiting for I don't know what. Like, did you think you were gonna contest the shot? The final example I'm gonna show is Jaylen Brown right here getting the ball to Marcus Smart, and he once again kicks it out to Grant Williams, who once again has Brook Lopez trying to contest his shot. Every example I've shown you, we've seen Grant Williams wide open and they throw Brook Lopez or Bobby Portis trying to contest the shot. This was the point in the game where Boston started to just run away with the lead, and it was at this point there was no return. So with everything I've told you, what can we expect from Boston playing Miami? Look, I'm not gonna lie, I said earlier in the season I thought the Miami Heat were frauds, and to be honest, I really did stand by that until about last week when I honestly started to see that Miami was a lot better than I gave them credit for. And so far in the NBA playoffs, they've given me literally no reason to doubt them. However, I still did think if there was a situation where Boston and Miami would play, I would still take Boston over them. And it's not that I think that Boston is just superiorly better than Miami, but I just think that Boston has a slight edge, especially if guys like Grant Williams are a lot more aggressive like they were in this game. Obviously, I don't see a situation where Grant Williams is taking 18 threes per game and having 27 points. However, it is important that I mention that the Boston Celtics were 2-0 when Grant Williams took over 10 shots. Now, obviously, there are other things that do factor into the series and how the Celtics are going to play, which I think is still something we need to discuss. One of my problems with Jason Tatum is if he's on, which is a good thing. However, when he is off, he is so off, like he's a liability. I will say, even though he has turned into a playmaker and he's definitely improved in that aspect, there are still times where he does try to play hero ball. If Boston wants to win, they're going to have to play team basketball and not just have Jason Tatum try to throw up 60 points while their other guys aren't taking that many shots. If they can get some of their other guys like Grant Williams and Jaylen Brown, who is the co-star on that team, even guys like Marcus Smart and Al Horford, which I don't know why he's playing so good lately, they have what it takes to beat the Miami Heat. There's no doubt about it for me. And I think the question also does remain that if Jason Tatum is getting shut down by Miami's defense, whether it's for one game or the entire series, does Jason Tatum turn into the playmaker that he's become? I know Jason Tatum has turned into a playmaker, and that's one of the best things about him. However, will he show that in his game, or is he just going to try to play hero ball? To be honest, I'm not too worried about Tatum, and honestly, I'm not too worried about the Celtics as a whole. I knew as soon as the Bucks went up 3-2 that the Celtics would come back and win the series, and it's not because the Bucks were bad. I just thought Boston was more superior. I'm excited to see what Boston can do in the Eastern Conference Finals, because if they've been playing like they have all year long, then honestly, I think this team is going to make it to the finals and hopefully win it. This team deserves a chance to make it to the NBA Finals and prove that they're the best team to come out of their conference. And if they make the NBA Finals, then there's a very good chance they could prove that they're the best team in the NBA.